First here at 5 o'clock, a cross-country journey for a good cause ends tragically for a Portland man. Good evening, I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. His name is Grady Lambert, and he was struck by a pickup truck while running from Oregon all the way to South Carolina to help people who had been deeply impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's bring in Mike Benner in the newsroom. Mike, you talked to Grady's parents. It sounds like he was gravely injured.
Yeah, David, it's so bad that Grady's parents expect him to pass away in the coming days. It is just awful. But first, Grady will donate whatever organs he can. And that should come as no surprise to anybody when you consider what he was doing when he was struck by that vehicle.
Haystack Rock, Cannon Beach, Oregon.
This here is Grady Lambert back in mid-March. The 32-year-old was in Cannon Beach to start a more than 4,000-mile run to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. As Grady's parents explained, this run was not for pleasure.
He was just had such a big heart and compassion for those that struggle.
Mark and Julie Lambert say their son was running across the country in a show of support for those impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The friendly bartender from the Rambler in North Portland saw the toll the pandemic was taking on other service industry workers, as well as healthcare workers and small business owners. In fact, Grady would stop at different places along his run and chat with these people. He'd also keep in touch with his mom.
He's like, Mom, I just don't understand why I'm not getting media attention while I'm running. He was really bummed.
Grady is now getting that much sought-after media attention, but for all the wrong reasons. On Sunday evening, Grady's parents say he was running through the Amarillo, Texas area when he was struck by a pickup truck.
It was dusk, and the driver said he just didn't see Grady.
Grady's parents believe it was an accident, one they say will take their son's life in the coming days. But first, Grady will be donating his organs.
Some really cool stuff's going to be happening here in the next 24 to 36 hours with that. And so Grady, being the compassionate person that he was, is giving in that fashion as well. So pretty cool.
Fitting for a guy who for the last 5 months has been running across America for a good cause. A journey, Grady's parents say, is not yet over.
He told us that if something were to happen, that he wants us to finish.
He wants us to take his ashes and finish his run. So we're going to, at some point, we'll take his ashes and spread them from here to Hilton Head Island.
It's worth mentioning Grady did start a GoFundMe at the start of his run. He wanted to raise money for the different types of people impacted by the pandemic. With the cross-country run cut short, any money raised by the GoFundMe will go towards a scholarship to help a student in Grady's hometown of Stillwater, Oklahoma, get into nursing. Pretty neat. You can find more on our website, KGW.com.
A scholarship, an organ donor, let his selfless legacy live on. Thank you, Mike. This evening, we're following up on what appears to be a troubling story. A woman murdered by her partner, officials say, just a week after that partner was bailed out of jail. Rachel Abraham was found dead in her home on Southeast 92nd Avenue in Portland on Saturday. Her partner, Mohammed Osman Adan, is charged with her murder. Court records show he'd been arrested in June for domestic violence, again in August for violating restraining orders and cutting off his ankle monitor. Adan's bail was set at $20,000. The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office argued that there were, quote, significant lethality concerns, end quote. But his bail was covered by Portland's Freedom Fund. That is a group that has advocated in the past for the end of the cash bail system in jails. Now, in a statement, Portland Freedom Fund wrote, the court had deemed him eligible for bail release, and he was referred to us as a financial provider for 2 small children with a letter of support from the community. The group went on to say, along with support he was receiving from the community, we were in contact with Mr. Adan throughout the time between his release and rearrest and did not receive any indications for concern, end quote. By the way, the Multnomah County DA says the Portland Freedom Fund undermined their efforts to save the victim's life by bailing Adan out.
We are learning more about the 2 men killed at a Safeway store in Bend over the weekend. Donald Surratt Jr. was a veteran who served as a combat engineer. His death leaves a big hole at the Disabled American Veterans Organization in Bend. Surratt was serving as treasurer of the organization. Police say Surratt was working in the produce section of the Safeway Sunday when the gunman came in and opened fire. Surratt hid behind a cart. waited until the suspect got close, then attacked him with a produce knife.
There's so many things to say about Don. He was very sociable and very interesting person to talk to. And he always had an answer for everything.
And I'm not surprised that he stood up and tried to take on the gunman. I am surprised that he's dead.
He's going to be hard to replace.
The gunman shot and killed Surratt. A second victim, 84-year-old Glenn Bennett, was shot and killed at the front of the store. According to a GoFundMe page set up by his family, Bennett was also a veteran and served as a medic in the Korean War. The gunman died by suicide.
Well, let's talk about the heat wave now. And while it is cooler today than Tuesday, imagine being stuck at home in it without any power. And that is because that's what one Salem neighborhood is going through while PGE crews work to install underground wire. Now, some residents tell us they were never notified about the outage one PGE says was planned. We understand they were without power from around 8 this morning until just a couple of hours ago. And for those who live at two mobile home parks, Paradise Island and Lakeside Village, there was no AC, no fans, nothing.
We have a lot of old people here that have a lot of medical problems that require power, and at least give people a warning.
In a statement, PGE tells us, quote, the work taking place involved re-energizing a new underground wire to reduce reliability concerns for the area. Crews have been working to address this issue through a phased approach, reducing the likelihood of a more prolonged outage. Now, today's outage impacted nearly 300 residents. Power back on there. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino. Matt, really a big difference from yesterday, but I mean, it's still hot out there.
Yeah, that's exactly right, David. I mean, I could feel it this morning that it was a little bit cooler, and it is. We hit 100 yesterday. We broke a record yesterday. We didn't get close to that today, but we're still in the 90s. It's still 92 outside right now. We got a little bit warmer than that this afternoon. I'll have the high temperatures for you a little bit later on, but I want to talk about our air quality because I'm sure you've noticed it's hazy and there is elevated smoke. It made for a great sunset last night, but again, it is hazy and the air quality is suffering because of that. So there's an air quality warning until tomorrow night at 9 p.m. So what that means is we've got another hazy day tomorrow. If you have any kind of respiratory issues, you might want to just take it easy tomorrow. Stay inside if you can because the air quality is not that great. Here's what we can expect. Poor air quality through tomorrow. Will improve on Friday. And we'll still be around 90 Thursday and even Friday, although I think Friday will stay below 90 and it'll be warm and dry for the Labor Day weekend, but only in the 80s. And in fact, I know I've said this before, but tomorrow may end up being our last 90-degree day of the year. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And I'll show you why I'm a little bit more optimistic that that might be the case this time. Guys?
That gives us hope. Thank you, Matt. We want to remind you about a new series airing on KGW this week called Uncommitted. It explores what happens to our community when people with severe mental illness don't get treatment. Here's investigative reporter Evan Watson.
There are frustrating gaps in our mental health care system. Issues that many people recognize, from family members to doctors to behavioral health workers to police officers and even judges. This week on KGW, we're looking at why some people with severe mental illness can fail to get the help that they need. They're left to cycle in and out of a process unless they choose to opt into care or other treatment options. While this system is designed to protect civil liberties of an individual, some people say it's become ineffective.
To get the person to the hospital and then to learn that they were released right away, it's also kind of underscores that the system is imperfect.
Our investigative series, Uncommitted, continues with a breakdown of these gaps in this cycle, including data that shows how many people are experiencing repetitive mental health crises without getting help. Watch it tonight at 6 on The Story.